Hello, guys, and you join us at quite an important time. So we're currently going live with the ECB. Let me just kind of bring this up, what we're looking at. So they are going through their announcement, and we wanted to go live just to kind of show you a little bit of a taster as to what it is that they are kind of saying. Just to kind of put something as a I don't know, a preamble before this. The European Central Bank interest rate decision came out as 75 basis points. Now they did a 50 previously. Now they've done a 75. I'm just going to let you kind of have a look at, or listen to what she's saying, and we'll see how the markets react.
As we started back in December. So for those who consistently repeat that the European Central Bank is lagging behind, I contend that we are on a journey that started back in December, where we decided to put an end to the asset purchases under PEP and under APP, to move out of negative interest rates as we did back in July, and now to continue on our normalization path with the front-loading exercise that we conducted today, because we believe that the deviation...
Guys, just note here quickly how the euro dollar is moving to the downside. So this is the euro compared with the dollar. So this means going to lead to typically people getting out of euro because obviously they know that there's a massive issue, and then getting into the dollar. So we might see stronger DXY.
75 was the norm. It is not. We will
You're seeing the DXY push
on the basis of data how we reach to that level of interest, which will actually return us to the 2% target in the medium term. It is not there at the moment. Our forecast at the end of December, which is not the medium term, but it's the end of our projection exercise, is at 2.3. We are not there. So we have...
So I'll let her be quiet for a second. AJ, do you want to bring up the charts and let us have a little look at what it is that we're seeing? How are we currently reacting?
Yeah, 2.6% session disconnected.
Whoops, that was me from earlier.
Right, here we go. So bringing up the Bitcoin chart, we can see that we are seeing a slight reaction towards the downside due to that. Taking a look at the DXY is actually having a bit of a push towards the upside. We did come down and test this resistance as of today, which was, support. We tested this previous resistance as support, but right now we are seeing a little push. So as you said, Ben, we could be seeing people get out of the euro and coming into that dollar. As we are seeing very clearly here, we can see that dollar increasing.
Yes, exactly. So and that, to be honest, guys, it's just kind of going to lay or tie in with the overall sentiment that we're seeing in the market, which is pretty much a global recession. I think, like I said, I can't remember, where it was that I said it, but I mentioned that people were worried about the dollar. People were worried about the US economy going into a recession. Now we're looking at the whole Chinese economy potentially collapsing because of the real estate stuff. The bank's not having any money, basically just a ton of stuff. And then also Russia. So I think, realistically, this is a much more widespread problem than initially anticipated. Now, I think if this whole European story continues to get worse, as a European investor, you're probably going to have to put your money somewhere, and it's going to be the dollar. And this is why I think we will continue to see a lot more pressure on the likes of Bitcoin. Can we have a look at Bitcoin on a smaller time frame, AJ?
We can. Yes, we can. Let's go into what time frame do you want to look at? 3, 5,
5 minute.
5 minute, yep.
5 minute, yeah. Okay. So, and that's yeah. Whoa. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
What the heck has she just said? What's going on? So the 75 basis point hike was released 25 minutes ago. Yeah, 45, 3, 5, yeah, like 5 bars basically. So that's, I think, where we see that massive drop. And now we're just continuing to see more downside pressure for Bitcoin, kind of perpetuating. So that's one thing. AJ, I'm going to let you kind of go through and like, I don't know, has this changed your analysis at all on Bitcoin looking at technicals?
As of yet, no, it hasn't. I went live last night and I told you I was still in that short. I was still in that short position. And I am going to continue being in this short position that I did open at approximately $18,800, because yesterday, as you can see, we did actually the price looked like it wanted to reverse, because it came back into this support level and it was retesting this previous support as resistance. But I told you the invalidation for my short position that I did open at $18,800 was at $19,270 approximately. We didn't get a candle close above that. So my invalidation for this short position hasn't been triggered yet. And I'm not 100% sure if it will get triggered or not. If we do continue to see the DXY push towards the upside, which, yes, we have had a slight pullback yesterday and today on the DXY, which is obviously why we have seen that traditional market pump, and we've also seen Bitcoin have that slight pump towards the upside as well. But for me, I'm still in that short position because the invalidation has not been has not been triggered yet. So I am still within this short position, and I have been telling you that I was expecting to get a retest back into this previous support, now resistance level, and then potentially see a rejection from there. And once we see that rejection, then I'll start getting into the short position much heavier, because I've only entered this short position very lightly, only with the amounts that I'm happy to lose. And I've told you that I am going to scale more heavily into this short position only if we get a rejection from this previous support, now resistance level, because that will be the confirmation for me that we have broken this support level, and we are most likely going to see the price come down potentially to that price target of this bearish flag, which is at $12,000. So for me, no, nothing has changed. The only possibility for things to change for me would be a break above $19,260-70 approximately. That would be the invalidation for the short position. We are, as of right now, seeing that DXY find support. If I get my pen tool out for you, you can see that we did yesterday. And yesterday we did pull back, and today we've pulled back all the way back down to this previous resistance, which is obviously going to act as support. And right now you can see we are bouncing off of that. So this is confirming to me that we could potentially see the DXY continue up to my target at around 112, because we are getting a bounce off this support level here. Now, it's not confirmed, just to make you aware, it's not confirmed yet. There's still around just under 10 hours left until this candle closes. And if it closes in the green, then we can start talking about this being a bounce off of this support. If it is a bounce off of this support, the likelihood of it is that we are going to come up to my target at around 112. And then that will most likely mean that Bitcoin will break its major, well, it's already broken, but get that confirmed rejection from this previous support, now resistance level. So that's what I'm looking at. Now, I'm only in very lightly on this short position, as I said, because I'm looking for that rejection. Another confirmation for me as well would be a break of the sort of bigger support level that's on the weekly. Now, this support would be broken at around, let me just zoom in, the support would be broken at around 18,000, a break of $18,920 approximately. We haven't got a confirmed break below that. So for me, it's not 100% that we could see 12,000, because this is a major support level. Back in 2017, it's been major support. So what I would be looking at for that solid confirmation is that rejection from this support level and a break on the weekly of the weekly support. Now we have 3 days, 11 hours left of this weekly candle close. So what I'm going to be waiting for is this solid break below this weekly support, and then I will start getting in heavily on that short. As I said, right now I'm just in only very lightly. Once it breaks this support, I think 12,000 is a pretty realistic target, and I think we can hit it pretty quickly, because as you can see, when you break previous support, like we did right here, we did come down very, very quickly to that next support level. It's the same when we break resistance. When we break resistance, as we did right here, we come up very, very quickly to that next resistance level. Okay, then we come in price discovery, come back down, we established a support level. The bounce of that support, price discovery, and then a rejection from that new resistance level we found, we come straight down to support. We hold support, then we go straight back up to resistance. We get rejection from resistance, we come straight back down to support. So as you can see, we've seen these. I know it's on the weekly, but it's a very quick move. There isn't much consolidation at all. As you can see, this push towards the upside, there was only slight consolidation towards the top before establishing that top. The push down, we saw very slight consolidation at the bottom before finally finding support. And then on the way up, we had a slight pullback. What I'm trying to get at is that we see these moves happen very quickly. Time frame wise, yes, they may take a few weeks to happen, but it is a very quick move. There's never actually consolidation within these breaks or rejections. So what I would be looking at is a break of this would be a pretty quick move down to 12,000 for me. That capitulation phase that we've been waiting for, and then hopefully that can get bought up very quickly, and then we can start talking about that bull market starting again. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at with my trade at the moment. I'm still within that trade, and I am still happy to be keeping this trade open because, as you can see, the DXY is continuing to push today. Looking at the S&P quickly, the S&P did find nice support on this daily support level here, and we did get a nice little bounce. But as of today, you can see that the price is slightly pulling back, and that is what I expect to see if we do continue to see this DXY push. Because as we know, the DXY goes up, we see the traditional market and the crypto market pull back. So yeah, that's what's happening with my trade at the moment.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and you can see it continue to push to the upside, even as we're going here. And I want to say that's off the back of two different things here. So, firstly, obviously, I've just shown you the ECB. That's because it's the biggest news. But Biswajana is absolutely correct. There is a meeting today with Jerome Powell, and I'll just quickly show you a little bit of this. It's only like a little, Q&A. So, there's not too much weight to be held behind it. Hence why, we didn't think it was good to lead with this. But yeah, basically, and he's just so that you can.
Of our framework change. The point of all of them was to, and we said this very clearly, was to have inflation expectations well anchored at 2%. That the average inflation targeting idea was meant to support having inflation expectation. That is.
So you can obviously go and watch this, but I think basically the bottom line is that he's just going to hammer home this remark here. So most recent public remarks delivered at the central bank's annual Jackson Hole, which we covered a couple of weeks ago. Powell said this is no place to stop or pause. So basically, he's going to continue. And what was he doing before? 75 basis points. And so it has been kind of echoed. So they will be in this for as long as it takes to successfully bring down inflation. So this is something that, like I said, I don't think we will go through and listen to all of it. We might give a bit of a recap. But yeah, there is this going on. So you guys can obviously go and listen. But again, I don't think this is going to be moving the markets as much as we see this. It may, let me just quickly bring up investing. Okay, here. It may alter this slightly as the market will be listening, and then obviously the market will be pricing in a 75 basis point hike or less. Funny, Jesus. So now it's an 85% likelihood that we're going to see that 75 basis point hike, and this is something I mentioned to you guys for a while. I've kind of always said that I think we're going to have that 75 basis point hike. Sorry. And AJ, me and you have kind of been the same on that. And I think the market is beginning to price that in, hence why we're seeing more downside.
Yeah, definitely. And what would you expect the reaction to the market be if we do get that 75 basis point? What do you think we could see the market do?
It's going to be just one of those things, and it's done it before, where it flashes down, and it's like, oh no, 75 basis point. But then it's like, oh, actually, it's not really a bad thing. You know, and when I say not really a bad thing, it's because obviously the higher the basis point hikes, the lower the inflation goes. So, you know, people have that in their minds. So, you know, I still think, especially with ECB only being at 1.5%, is it? No, 1.25% as their Fed fund rate, or the fund rate for the ECB. I think it's far too low. You know, our inflation currently, well, US inflation is still in what, 8-9%, something like this. You know, and they're only now going to be jumping on to 3.25, which is just still not enough. So I do think we're going to be in for some downside for a lot longer. But, you know, 75 basis point hikes, it's one of those, it's, oh, no, it's really bad because that's bad for the economy. Companies aren't going to grow, etc. But it's also, maybe the Fed now know what they're doing. So it could be, if they bring inflation down, now is a good time to buy. So, yeah, but I just don't think, I think we're going to continue to see more cash on the side. Quick question for Mr. Panda. If EU raises rate, then in theory that should strengthen the euro against the dollar. Euro compared to the, it should in total, but obviously the market hasn't really perceived it that way. And I think the reason is that obviously with a higher fund rate, you know, you're essentially squashing the economy, and therefore everything that comes with it. So the whole Eurozone as a total will be less productive. You know, the GDP will be less, and so therefore the currency will be weaker. Because that's essentially what, you know, we look at the Fed, we look at the ECB, and all they have to do, their single job is just make the economy worse, basically, because there's so much inflation, and that's it. So they just say, okay, well, if any company wants to try and grow, hire new people, you know, research and do some R&D, that's not going to happen because you're going to have to, you know, you're going to have to pay a 3.25%, you know, rate for borrowing the money. So a lot of people will just decide not to do that, and so they stop hiring, etc. And that does have the effect of making the economy smaller, and then therefore getting out of that inflationary period. But yeah, there's not really too much going on besides that. I think we're pretty much done, I would say. Do you guys have any other questions? Anything specific towards, like, I don't know, Eurozone, dollar? It's a shame that we have to keep talking about the dollar at the moment, but the traditional markets, they're such a driver, aren't they?
It is, yeah. And I've explained this so many times as well. From the 14th of July to the 11th of August, we saw the DXY go down, and Bitcoin is going up between that time period, 14th of July and the 11th of August. But then when the DXY goes up, we see Bitcoin going down. So, you know, it's something that we do have to rely on very closely, because it is what is pushing the price of Bitcoin right now. And a lot of the time,
I was going to say just one thing is that you can predict if the DXY is going to go up. The Bitcoin follows the DXY, I think. So, you know, well, I think, you know, the evidence does show, and also a lot of other people think as well, you know, but I'm not going to say I'm completely right, but you know, Bitcoin does follow the traditional markets, and whether we like it or not, you know, we want crypto to be a standalone asset. And I will actually do a video as to how Ethereum might break away from crypto as a, you know, as like in general. But that's not for now. And so, so I think we do have to find out, you know, if we're trying to find out what makes Bitcoin go up, well, you know, we want to find out what the price is going to be. So we have to find out what are those factors. And unfortunately, that's why we sit here and talk about traditional markets. So it might be boring, and we're not talking about the moon, and we're not talking about, you know, $100,000 Bitcoin, and we're not giving you any crazy, you know, hey, look at this price target. We're definitely going to go to 30K first before we drop down to 12. You know, it's not very good for clickbait. I mean, that's good for clickbait, saying, hey, we're going to have a massive jump, because everyone's like, oh, right, my Bitcoin's going to go up. Let me watch your video. But we have to give you the, you know, what we think is the truth anyway. And we haven't been too wrong so far.
No, we haven't. Yeah, we've got to give all the facts. Otherwise, you know, then you're just bringing clickbait and lies to the audience. Exactly. I'm just trying to bring up a chart that I haven't looked at a while ago, but it also gives you a really good understanding of what
Is it
happened.
the CBDD?
It's not. It's not actually.
Yeah.
I won't be looking at that until we have that confirmed break below that support.
Yeah,
But
that will be interesting, actually.
it will be, because it's never been broken before, and we have
Yeah.
these $12,000 targets, so it's going to be really interesting. It's never been broken before, so this could be the first time it gets broken, but only if we do break below that major support on that weekly. I'm just trying to look at this chart here, and if I bring it up, it's on my old TradingView account. I haven't moved it over to my new one, so I just had to find it and get it all together. But what am I doing here? Don't want to be doing that. So if I pull that there, yeah. So
Is this DXY Bitcoin correlation?
yes, it is. We haven't looked at it a while, but it just shows.
This is a beautiful day.
Yeah, there we go. Can you see it on the screen now?
Yeah, full screen.
Yeah. So basically, this is the DXY at the top, and this is the Bitcoin chart at the bottom. Much larger time frame. These are both on the weekly, but as you can see, I've lined them up perfectly. So you can see that dotted line at the top on the top chart and the bottom chart. They line up perfectly. And what we see is when the DXY bottomed out in February 2018 at around sort of 89, and then it went down to 88 as well. So you can see right here, we did bottom out on that DXY. What happened to Bitcoin? Well, just before that, Bitcoin actually established its all-time high, and it established that top. Then we saw the DXY push towards the upside. Then what happened to Bitcoin? Well, we saw Bitcoin drop towards the downside. Then we saw the DXY top at a previous resistance level from back here. Right there, we saw the DXY top, and then we saw the DXY push down. When the DXY goes down, what do we see? We see Bitcoin go up, and that's exactly what happened. We saw Bitcoin go up. Now, because we have actually broken through this, we came back down to this support on the DXY. Then what happens? The DXY went up and Bitcoin went down. Now, because we have broken above this resistance, if we got rejected at that resistance level, then we would most likely have seen Bitcoin go up. But unfortunately, we broke above that resistance level. So what happened? The price of Bitcoin is continuing to go down, and I do expect the price to continue to go down if we do continue to see this DXY come up as well. And yeah, even all the way back here, we can see. Let me line them back up again. Yeah, but even back here, we can see, the DXY topped up here, the topped out here, and then we saw the price of the DXY fall. What happened to Bitcoin? Bitcoin had that massive rally. So you can see this shows us very, very clearly what happens to Bitcoin when the DXY goes down. Well, Bitcoin goes up. What happens to Bitcoin when the DXY goes up? Well, Bitcoin goes down. So this just shows you it on a bigger time frame. I know I show you it on the shorter time frame as well, but this just shows you how the DXY is so necessary to look at when trading Bitcoin, because as you can very clearly see here, we do the opposite of whatever the DXY does. So yeah, I just wanted to show that quickly. And yeah, going back to the traditional charts as well, we are at that major support level that you can see we have bounced off that major support level, as you can see here. I am only going to be bearish on the traditional market if we do break below this $3,900 level. If we do break it below that, I am going to be bearish. Right now, I am fairly neutral on the traditional market. Bigger time frame, I am bearish because we are forming these lower highs and these lower lows. But if we can find support here and make a higher low, then this could potentially be bullish for the traditional market. But if we continue to see that DXY push, then this is very, very unlikely to see. We'll most likely break this support level here. And then, we're looking very similar to that 2008 crash. So I've mentioned that multiple times. We do just have to be very, very aware of that. And we will most likely see Bitcoin crash as well if we see the traditional market crash. So yeah, that's what we're looking out for. We are waiting to see if we get a break towards the downside of the support level on that weekly chart. So we have 3 days, 11 hours left. We do get the break towards the downside. For me, that is a confirmation that we are going to see much lower prices, potentially all the way down to 12,000. So yeah.
Yeah, there you go, guys. And just finish off here, AJ. Just have a question here. Are you in a trade at the moment or waiting for the news? I know you mentioned it earlier, just to recap.
Yeah, right now I am in a short position, but only very lightly. I entered that short position at $18,800 because we broke this major support level on the daily right here. As you can see, previous support here, but we've got to break towards the downside. So I did go short, only very lightly though, because we haven't seen the break towards the downside on the traditional markets. And we did see the DXY have a little pullback as well. So that's why I've only gone in very lightly. But for me, if we do get a confirmed rejection from this previous support, now resistance, then for me, that's a confirmation. And when we do that, we will most likely break this major support on the weekly, and a break of that as well would be the confirmation for me that we are going to see much lower. So yes, I am in a trade right now. I am in a short on Bitcoin, only very lightly though. But when we get a confirmed rejection from this resistance here, and a break of the major support on the weekly, then I will scale heavily into that short position. Only very lightly, as I said, but when we get a confirmed break towards the downside of this support, then I will scale in heavily. For the invalidation of the trade that I'm in right now would be a candle break above $19,270 approximately. So a very nice tight stop loss. But the reason I'm doing that is because we could potentially be forming a double bottom here as well. Only if we don't break below this major support level here. So that's what I'm looking at. I am short, but only very lightly right now.
There you go. So look, guys, follow for more. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button as well, as it helps us out massively. In fact, smash it, as Mr. Panda has said. And obviously make sure that you tune in for tomorrow. We actually have a very interesting kind of rest of the week, I should say. So yeah, make sure that you guys are all around. Because tomorrow we have some news. Oh no, yeah, we have some news from Canada and China. We'll see how that goes. Thank you very much, guys.
And remember, we are in September. Traditionally, a very, very bearish month for Bitcoins. And the traditional
September.
September.
It's always bad. So yeah, hopefully just try and make some extra money this month, guys, and then you can make sure you buy the dip.
There we go. Thank you for watching, everyone. See you later.
Take care. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow.